Will a trip to Krypton's graveyard prove enough for Superman to finally unravel the mystery about Rogol Zaar? Well, let's hop into the pages of Superman issue number 14 and find out for ourselves, shall we? Alrighty then, so this comic actually opens up with a trip to the future, and by future, of course, I mean one day. Superman and what he calls his assembled family, yes, that includes Zod and his family too for some reason. They have a message for the rest of the collective galaxy, the truth about what happened to Krypton and how they can stop something like this from happening ever again, but more on that in a minute. You see, from there we actually transition on over to where the last issue left off, where Jor-El had finally taken Superman to the site of Krypton's ultimate destruction, and wouldn't you know it, the atmosphere here is super poisonous because, well, irradiated pieces of the destroyed planet, it's literally made of kryptonite. So is Papa Jor-El finally gonna spill the beans, and are we finally gonna figure out what exactly is going on here? The answer by now should be obvious, and that is no. No, of course not, for you see, Jor-El had an amazing plan. You see, Jor-El took a wild guess that Rogol Zaar and his forces would be following them here right now, and he also figured that if General Zod was to see the destroyed site of Krypton, it would cause him to go nuts and turn against Rogol Zaar quicker than he ever intended to. If that all seems wildly convenient, it's because it totally is. Furthermore, Jor-El says that he hopes that Zod will be able to do what Superman never could do, and that is kill Zaar. Only, no, wait a minute, the problem wasn't that Superman was afraid of killing Rogol Zaar, it's that he could never beat him to begin with, so what makes Jor-El think Zod, someone that Superman routinely beats, would have a chance? If that all seems incredibly contrived and nonsensical, it's because it absolutely 100% is, but trust me when I say the worst hasn't actually come yet. Now, Zod and Zaar end up getting blown out of their ship's airlock, and General Zod gets exposed to the toxic atmosphere. Superman thinks, oh, I should totally go and save him right now, even though doing so will put Superman's own life in danger, and even though Superman had no problem leaving General Zod to die in the Phantom Zone just a few arcs back, I guess you could say this is him coming full circle as a character at this moment, but he never actually says he felt bad about leaving Zod the first time. It's when Superman goes to pick up General Zod, he sees that he's not the only one suffering from kryptonite poisoning. So is Rogol Zaar, yes, and that is because Rogol Zaar is actually Kryptonian. How the hell does any of that work, you might be asking yourself, especially if you read the Supergirl book. All of this flies in the face of the origin they had tried to give in Zaar, saying that his race was actually controlled by the ancient Kryptonians, and how Zaar was the last one of his race. The answer is who the hell knows, and really who the hell cares. In truth, I had planned to do a little sketch like I did for the last Batman comic, where I really overplay the nerd rage in this situation, but truth be told, I couldn't even muster up enough passion to do that. And with that, the day is saved, kind of, mostly. Superman and his family end up getting taken into custody by the Thanagarians, a group whose power level continues to fluctuate wildly depending on what book you are reading. Here they're a massive empire, but in Justice League they're a sad shadow of their former selves. The Hawks agree to put Rogol Zaar in jail. Oh yeah, because clearly this guy who broke out of the Phantom Zone and who could fight Superman, a regular jail can hold him naturally. Why didn't you just leave him in the kryptonite field to die? But that's not the most annoying part. Remember Gandello, that character who was really important to Supergirl, the one who was a member of the Circle and who looked to actually have been pulling Rogol Zaar's strings this whole time? Yeah, they just died off panel. And now apparently their planet and the Kun and a bunch of other people are going to start going to war, and it's going to tear the galaxy apart unless Superman can stop it. And believe it or not, it's actually John Kent the Superboy who figures out a way to stop this in probably the most simplistic, patronizing way possible. Hey, all you alien leaders, maybe you should make your own UN, but for space. So basically exactly what Jor-El and the Circle were doing, but in the public eye instead of in private. Keep in mind that the Circle was actually doing a pretty good job keeping the trains running on time. It was only Zaar who screwed things up by being a mad dog killer. And wouldn't you know it, all these amazing alien leaders think that's a great idea. They never once considered a UN, and in fact this is such a major breakthrough in history. The Legion of Superheroes ends up coming back in time to tell everyone that it's this moment right here that starts a chain reaction that will ultimately lead to their mostly positive future, and they have Superboy to thank. Why, wouldn't you know it, the Legion is so thankful and so starstruck by John, they want him to come to the future and hang out with them, much like his father did, back in whenever. And it's on that note there, the comic comes to a close, everybody. So, that was Superman issue number 14, and again, I ask, what was the point of any of this? I know I stopped having fun reading this book a long time ago and was really only hanging in there to see if there would be any worthwhile answers for, why Krypton was destroyed, what Rogol Zaar actually is. And I can't believe it's literally been about a year since Bendis first created Rogol Zaar for Man of Steel, and we're only now figuring out he's a Kryptonian, and it makes literally no sense, and I literally could care less, and I really don't care where it's going. And that's just regular fan problems too, on top of the metric boatloads of other just regular comic issues here. Everything feels contrived, all the characters are dumb and have to be to push the story forward. Stories and plot lines just get wrapped up at the drop of a hat with very little payoff. Again, you can pretty much always tell when Brian Michael Bendis is bored on a project, and I think he's officially bored with Superman now. And you know what, man? If your heart's not in it, mine's not in it either. I think I'm done with this, but until then, I'd give this one a 4 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest, that's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.